what you're doing now,
Yes.
what do you think the positive things that where and service oriented that you can get from telemedicine? Where do you think telemedicine's strengths are? Is it skilled nursing homes? Is it outpatient pediatrics? Where would you see the best use of it?
And now remembering that I'm not actually practicing.
No, I know.
I think access would be sort of the major word,
Okay.
place of impact. I can almost imagine these remote areas where, either physicians don't or can't or don't want to go to, and or where the patients can't come from to go to the big house. You and I, we've all read and heard these stories about these critical access hospitals having to close because of funding and or financial woes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, well, but they can just go to the bigger hospital, the up the road or down the road. You know what? They can't. They can't get there. And they may have a lesion, they may have a rash, they may have cellulitis, they may have a big bad foot, diabetic foot infection. And all they need is someone to look at it, to make a diagnosis. And they can't get that,
Yep.
So I can almost visualize telemedicine being sort of the arm reaching out into these areas, into these populations, and providing access to knowledgeable physicians who not necessarily running around like we all did, trying to see and treat patients. We're centralized, and the access is far reaching.
That succinctly puts it in one word. That's a pretty good way of saying it.
I think that's probably likely to be the biggest value that telemedicine can possibly offer, and that is those people that are a long way have got to make a decision about whether they gas up the car and drive 2.5, 3 hours to a place that has a full service hospital, or whether they're just going to sit and wait and see what happens next.
Right.
And if they can just get some really good advice, well-informed advice about whether this can wait or whether it's not, is just incredibly important. And for me, I think that's probably the biggest value that telemedicine is going to offer.
Yeah, I said access to care. Randy, you just touched on it. You made me think of a story. Years ago, I was doing a presentation to a nurses group up in South Dakota, but it was a regional meeting. And so they had nurses from Montana, Wyoming. And one of the nurses was telling me that she would drive 6 hours to see one patient.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a wound care conference. And so to me, telemedicine, where I see the value, and it's interesting, being in Jacksonville, which is a metropolitan area, but yet we have a lot of, such a big spread out area that it's physically difficult for a lot of people to get into the
South
wound
Georgia.
center. And so
You
that
got
access
people
to care, and it's all more, I think it's also a more efficient way to work too. Again, what I was referring to earlier, here we all have our breadth of knowledge, and to be able to sit at a computer or to have that ability to review more patients in a short amount of time without physically having to leave your office is really a godsend. And it could prevent so many things. Like Randy said, people, okay, well, I can't make it, so I'm just going to sit on this thing and maybe it'll get better, which, invariably, it doesn't get better.
All three of us have seen the diabetic foot that just sat around for 2-3 weeks, and it's too late by then.
That's right. Yeah, it's, I just, as I'm hearing myself talk today too, I'm just thinking, again, this point of you've got all this experience, and now we're not ready to retire. None of us. We still have a lot to offer,
right,
whether it's through mentoring, whether it's through patient interaction and care. And you can't discount that. To me, it's frustrating. And it's not only in medicine too. You look at some brilliant minds out there. They're constantly learning. They're solving problems. They've accumulated so much knowledge. Always trying to be the better version of yourself.
Yes.
You finally get there, and then it's like, whoops! It looks like we're at the end of the road here.
I was watching. I was watching a thing today about when this killed Kodak. Think about it, the vision of that man to kill Kodak. He said, oh, I've got this little camera up here and that's going to do it. And I think also in telemedicine, the cool part will be the technology, because, you know, the things about the Apple Watch, but, you know, the little things you see advertised where on your diabetics wear, and you have
Yes.
you have continuous monitoring. The doctor could be 1,000 miles away and see what your sugar curve is.
That's right. Congestive heart failure, another one. It's limitless, really, as technology continues to move forward.
Thank you so much for joining our discussion today. If you'd like to learn more about our guest, head on over to our Patreon page, where you can access exclusive content, including the full segment of our show. Never want to miss an Inside the Doctor's Lounge clip? Be sure to click the subscribe button to our MD Coaches YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate suggestions for future show topics, so let us know what you're thinking in the comments below. And finally, special thanks to Ryan Jones, who created and performs our theme music for the show.